So the pattern we use is a gold pattern, and they use 5/8 inch seam allowance. These little dots are indicators of the seam allowances, okay? So for the purpose of doing this video and this demonstration, that's what I'm going to use. All right? Mm-hmm. So this would be the 5/8, this would be the 5/8. And you're just going to follow the exact shape that they have set up. So when I get to this point, I lead the needle down and turn it. So just don't go straight down. It's shaped the way it should go, and you need to follow that shape. So after we get this one side done, it's going to be the same to the other. And of course, we don't have time to go over to the ironing board and press. But you know, you would have to press it next. So I'd have to clip and trim this corner, so that when you flip it to the right side, it's no fabric in there. And then I would trim this one down also. With these little snippets, right? All right, you all. My fingernails clean or what? Did somebody tell me to check?
I don't think we do.
All right. I am cleaning out the yard because it's going to get cold. Now, next month it's supposed to be 70 degrees again. You all know that? I was digging up stuff Sunday. I was gardening. I was like, this is the Sabbath. Now, you know you should not be out here doing this. But you know what I did? I replaced the mums in front of the church. After I get home, we don't have time for all that, right? We don't have time for all that. Pull up the tomatoes and the squash and all that. I stay in the backyard. I ain't pull those up yet. It's not cold enough to have to pull those up, especially the squash. But the squirrels be eating it. I look down and there go tomatoes on the ground. So now I'm going to stitch this across here the bottom because I just want to close it up. I don't want it to move while I'm trying to attach it to my jacket. So on the pattern it's going to be the guide, and if you design it yourself, it'll be a guideline. So if I take this and line it up and sew it, when I flip it up, look, it's because this is the bottom is straight. It's made to go on this angle. So now I need to attach it to the jacket. So I'm going to follow the guide that they have on the pattern for the shape and the angle of the pocket. This is the one. So the one with that little shape in the back, that's going toward the back. This is the front of the jacket. So we just want to attach those. So I want to attach either exactly on the line or right in front of the line, because I don't want this seam to show, because it's a stay stitch, not a base stitch. Okay? And of course we always want to back stitch at the beginning and the end. Now I need to trim part of this away. It's going to be in my way, because I also have the guide set up how to stitch that. So this would be pocket lining. For this purpose, you all know we made everything the same. So if this is going to line up, we want this point to just go past this, and then have it pinned in place, line it up right, so you can see.
Okay, it's on the first line.
Right, it's on the first line. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So then we're going to stitch that in place. So I went right into that. I want to take these and line them up and make sure I need to stitch right on the pocket, the same place. So if you like, you can stitch right down the middle first with a basting stitch. You're going to cut it anyway. Now if you can't back stitch well to not go too far, then just turn it around and stitch. Because it has to be just past there, just to hold it in place. See there, went right past there, which is good because we need to pick those back out. But then I need you to see exactly where it needs to stop at, right here. So pick the rest of those out. We don't want stitches going past there because we're going to cut right up to that spot. Right up to that spot. If I look here, I need to pick one of those out. Because we want to just to hold the pocket in place, not go past the pocket because we're going to clip. Now, when this flips up, it extends out. They had this stitch not lined up straight up, parallel to the side, because then you would see it. So they made this come back. Yeah, they stagnated. They brought it back a little bit. And the same here, because this one, when it goes up, you don't want to see this stitch. So these come in a little bit. Makes sense, right? Yep, that poor Cynthia, she's sleeping. Don't fall off the chair, Cynthia. All right. All right. Don't fall and hit the floor.
I'm gonna laugh too.
All right. Ooh, we not gonna laugh.
Not too hard anyway.
Now, you remember the story in the Bible when Paul was preaching so long and the boy fell out the third story window and broke his neck and died?
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. He went down there and laid on him and prayed for him and he came back to life.
He was just tired, man. Like,
because he preached for a long time. You all know you be in church, and the preacher be preaching too long.
Ooh, I hate when they preach for a long.
Oh, when they keep saying,
Like, I'm not gonna keep it.
when they keep saying, I'm getting ready to close, and then they keep talking.
And that was an hour later.
Right.
He say an hour later. So even if the line is incorrect, I still made it a little shorter myself, just to make sure, because it really don't matter. You're not gonna see this at all.
Right.
So now I'm gonna take it and fold it in half and cut it in the center with these dull scissors.
I remember reading it.
Oh, yeah, man.
Said it right.
Right. So this one, I'll cut up to this point, but this one over to here, this one over to here. Somebody give me their sharps.
Inside the black pouch. Inside. Bring it here. Yeah, there you go.
These little snippers.
No, the blue one says dull. The red one.
These came from the school store, Illinois Institute of Arts.
Yeah, we sold those
Came in
too.
those kits. You all sold those too. So all the way up to it, but not through it.
Like those dull too, huh?
Yeah, through all these layers.
Yeah, those aren't the best ones. Yeah, sorry, Charlie.
That's all right. We'll get it.
It's tuna.
So I'm going to snip up to that. I can go underneath and do the same thing. I don't need to snip the welt part in the middle. And then you'll just have to join the lining pieces together. The scissors don't want to get underneath there. So it's similar to the bound pocket, right? Mm-hmm. So then when we push this down and this down, then we get the welt. But you don't see the lips like you did on the bound pocket,
Right.
on the lower one. Then here's the angle. We take that and push it out, stitch that down.
So you can do this one with the bound pocket as well, right?
You can do this instead of the well-bound pocket, and it don't have to have a point. You've seen it on Coat Common, it's just straight up.
I think we had to do one at the school in Miss O'Shea class. It had to be both on the one pocket, and that way you can put the.
You did the bound pocket with the flap. This is not this. This is the other one you did. You did it with the flap.
We did it with the.
Yeah, you didn't do this one. We didn't do this one at all. Again, do a basting stitch to make sure it's right before you make it permanent. Then if it's right, you can go ahead and do a smaller stitch. Always do that to check.
Oh, okay.
And then it flip up and you don't see it. Yeah, this part, however, you go and you attach that by hand with a whip stitch in the back. So after I do those two corners, then you go around the whole intersection of the pocket, the rest of the pocket. So push the little corner out. Yeah, and then stitch it on the other side. Make sure it's clipped enough. If it's not clipped enough, you don't want to lay all the way flat. So if it don't lay flat, you know you got to clip it a little more. There we go. You get this one. I push this down out of the way so I can get to this, and I can stitch it down, and then you can stitch the rest of the pocket. So the reason why people are scared of these, because they're scared they're going to cut the fabric and have a hole in it and not stitch it in the right place, and it's true. And I would interface the back of this first before I start stitching it. That'll prevent it from unraveling so fast. And if I get to this point, then I can finish stitching the rest of my pocket. It's crooked, but it's fast.
And that was not folded like the other one either, right?
It's not. That was two pieces. Remember, we had those two separate pieces. So this is the Welt Pocket. Yeah, so we would just do a whip stitch to hold that, because you don't see any of the seams, any of the stitches on this at all. So we don't have an understitch or edge stitch. I mean, you can do that at the top of this, but you can't see that part of it anyway.
So this is the Welt Pocket.
This is the Welt Pocket. Usually you see on a jacket with a handkerchief in the top on a man's suit jacket. Yeah.
Does that stay up?
Because this stays up because you would hand stitch this in the back to make it stay in place. This stays up, and the handkerchief goes in.
That's not a flap.
It's not a flap.
Like a flap.
Yeah.
Because this is the top. This is the top. They put their hanky in this pocket on their suit jacket.
I get it now.
Right. This is not a pocket
But we're not
flap.
supposed to do a tack stitch on the outside?
You got
a bar stitch?
No,
Don't do that? Okay.
You do a whip stitch. You can do that, or a slip stitch by hand to hold this down. No stitches show on this pocket at all.
So how far would the slip stitch go?
Just to hold this well part in place.
On the side?
Yeah, slip stitch just to hold it secured on both sides.
Okay.
All right.
I get
Now you all understand what this pocket is.
Now I understand.
Okay.
I get it.
I was mistaken.
And you have seen these on coat pockets, but not with the points. This is the point that's on a jacket. Sometimes they just straight. This to me is easy to do in that one.
Really?